Yo guys, what's going on? JBL Motovlogs here and welcome back to another video. So, quick question for you to begin with. When was the last time you ever cleaned your braking system on your motorcycle? What I mean by that is legit taking the calipers off, taking all the screws out, taking the pins, the pads and everything out, really inspecting your brake fluid, cleaning your pads, checking if everything's still wet, or do you just have a look at them while they're on the bike and think, oh yeah, they're wearing down alright, it's pretty decent. So, if you are the second one and you very rarely take them off, today's video is going to help you out. It's only a quick one, but it's something you definitely need to check out, especially after stuff like the hot weather we've just had, and especially through winter, because brake pads and your entire braking system is one of the most important things on your bike, along with your tyres and your engine as well. So today I'm going to quickly show you how to give your brakes a little service and hopefully get a little bit longer life out of them pads and them calipers. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So first things first is hopefully you've got some nylon gloves or some sort of protection, because any sort of brake cleaner and brake dust is very corrosive. So in the MT-07 it's a 12mm socket to get the calipers off. Just take your calipers off straight away, just take the bolts out and your caliper should come loose, and you should be able to just manually take it off, but be very careful for your rim. Try to put your hand behind the caliper so it doesn't bang against it and dent any of your rim, especially your paint as well on the more expensive wheels. So just usually rest it against the side of the tyre. So getting some long nose pliers, I'm just taking the pins out now, and then going to take the slide pin out. It should be nice and greased from your last service, but be very careful once the slide pins comes out. You're going to have to put your hand underneath the caliper to catch your brake pads, because everything's going to pop out and drop out. Again, be careful against you putting your caliper against your rim. Now I'm taking now is some brake cleaner. One I'm using is True Tension. If you want to grab yourself some using For My Followers at the checkout, I'll leave a link in the description as well, because I am sponsored by these guys. And just taking a soft nylon brush, try getting in around the pistons, just spraying your brake cleaner around, and then just take a microfiber cloth. Don't underestimate the hand power of the microfiber cloth in there. So yeah, just make sure, have a little look, have a visual check, see if they're all okay, see if they're working, see if they're wearing evenly. Remember both sides, because the top side is something you see all the time. It probably will be clean, but that underside is where all that road grime gets kicked up out of. So keep a look at that. Now just with the brake pads, just spraying again with some brake cleaner and wiping them off with a microfiber cloth. I'm not taking any sort of brush to them, because I don't want to put any sort of wear on them that's not from the brake disc. So just rubbing them in the direction they're going to go. Just try to get all that excess brake dust off. You see why I'm wearing gloves, look at all the previous grease and stuff. From I remember my past service, they put a lot of copper grease on there just to help everything slip back together. Again, just checking the wear on them, make sure it's even on both sides, so make sure one side of the disc isn't wearing as much as the pad as the other. They should be alright. And now this is very unnecessary, but if you want to clean the plate as well, you might as well where you've got it off. So again, just taking either a soft metal brush, like a wire brush, or a nylon brush, taking to it with some brake cleaner. Should just break it down and wipe off. All I'm doing now is cleaning the actual discs themselves. So if you want to go a step further, you can actually deglaze the disc if you wanted some Scotch-Brite or some light sandpaper. But I've just gone in with some brake cleaner on a microfiber, just wiping all that excess brake dust off, because they're quite clean anyway. This is after I clean the bike. Usually I'd probably do this before I clean the bike, or leave the calipers off while cleaning the bike, so then you can get a light snow foam over them and it'll really penetrate it. But for now the bike was quite clean, so it's just a case of getting some brake cleaner on there and a microfiber. Now I'm just inspecting the pin, just leaving that grease on. I don't want to take all the grease off because it'll help it slide back in, but taking the excess off. And then here all I'm doing is putting one of the nylon twigs down the down the pinholes to make sure they're clear so the pins go back in easily. And as well, if you want to, you can actually clean the tiny little pins as well, just make sure there's no excess grease on them. Putting your calipers back in, that's pretty much it. Everything inside it's clean, back to working order, at least you know everything's inspected, put back together correctly. Putting these back together are kind of fiddler, there's a bit of an art to it. You know, once or twice you've done it, you can kind of do it. The trick I do is just to grab the caliper in one hand, slip the brake pads in underneath, hold them with the bottom two fingers, with the thumb hold the pin on, and then slide it right through. That should hold everything in place while you take your pliers and just put your pins back in. So what I'm trying to do here is just press the pins down with the top of the pliers, but I think that's as far as they go into the MT-07. So as well, to get the caliper back on, it might have closed up a little bit, so if you want to get like an Allen key or maybe a screwdriver up inside the brake pads to ply them open them pistons up so it's wide enough just to slip back onto the disc. And then once it's on, put all your routing of your wiring back to where it was, pop your bolts in, tighten them down, torque them down. I don't have a torque wrench, but hand tight and a little bit more should be alright for me. I've always got away with it, so I'll stick with that. You're pretty much done. So repeat on the other side and then repeat on the the back side of the back brake, and that should be a little bit of a caliper service complete. At least your brakes are all in working order. Everything's worn down to the correct size, and nothing's worn unevenly. Especially if you're doing longer trips or you're taking the bike on track, something like this is probably very, very useful just to do before you head off, because it's one of the most important part of your bikes. And then the last tip before we do that is obviously we've plied the pistons apart, is to actually just pump the front brake up. So get on the bike and just hammer the pump brake, just pop the pistons back in, putting the calipers back against the pad, so when you first get on your bike and you ride down the road and you squeeze, nothing will happen. So just pump it back up and you'll be good to go. So, as I said, quick video, something super important you definitely need to be checking on your bikes, especially before you're going on a longer trip, especially on a track. So, hope that helped. If it did, leave it a like. But apart from that, boys and girls, there's not much else to say. Go out there and ride your bikes, because it's a lovely, beautiful summer's day. So, see you in the next one. It's been JB on Motovlogs, and I'm out. Peace.